Attitude check.
Bronco Pride!
Welcome to the FSU Broncos Pigskin Press Talk with head coach Richard Hayes. Coach Hayes, it's now week 2. We've gotten past our first weekend against Elizabeth City State University. And what we'll do for the fans is we'll give you a few highlights of what went on this past weekend. Fayetteville State University traveled to Rocky Mount, North Carolina to open the 2021 season against the Vikings of Elizabeth City State University in the Down East Viking Football Classic. After the opening kickoff, the Broncos amassed 415 yards of total offense in 63 plays. Johnny Glassby tiptoed into the end zone from 3 yards out to give FSU a 6-0 lead with 11:34 left in the first quarter. After Ty Sharp hauled in a 13-yard touchdown pass from Kahari Lane, the Broncos tacked on a safety as the ball sailed over Elizabeth City State's punter to give the Broncos a 15-0 lead with 2:12 left in the first quarter. In the opening drive of the second quarter, Darnell Walker capped an 8-play, 64-yard scoring drive with a 3-yard walk-in into the end zone. Joshua Williams had a pick six for 32 yards with 2:13 left in the first half for a 28-0 lead.
Thought we played well, a little better than expected. We just got a couple turnovers, ball hitting the ground too much, but I thought the guys played hard and showed good effort. Well, one, a testament to the defense. Defense is giving us outstanding field position. But I just told the guys to keep playing. We got to limit the turnovers and just focus on doing their jobs, doing that 111, and we'll be okay going into the second half.
But I mean, that's great. The score is 28-0. We love that. But you guys see that. We see the little mistakes that we're going to make. So we want to clean that up and really finish strong here in the second half. We're going to tell a lot about this unit to see how we react and our character when we're up. Right? We see how they act when we have adversity, and now we see how we act when we got a little bit of success. So no drop off.
Elizabeth City State managed to score to open up the second half, but on the point after attempt, Brandon Smith blocked the kick attempt while Elvin Bellarosa scooped up the ball and returned it 90 yards for a defensive point after attempt and a 30-6 lead. Kahari Lane would later connect with Brandon Knox for a 9-yard touchdown pass, and backup quarterback Corey Haley will close out an 8-play, 9-yard drive with a 1-yard rush into pay dirt. Now, Coach, you said it didn't seem surreal until you was finally on that bus Friday, locked and loaded, headed to Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Now, after you had a couple of days to let it soak in, let's talk about that game. Let's talk about kind of the prep that Friday, the banquet, your last meeting with the team that Friday night. You actually had somebody special come by.
Mm-hmm. We had Tony Collins come by. He's a friend of mine, former New England Patriot. He lives in the Greenville area. We stayed in Greenville, North Carolina Friday night. So when we got back to the hotel, Brother Collins came by and gave the team a message. And he talked about choices and opportunities, kind of gave his career story, some of the things he went through in his NFL career and some of the downfalls he faced and challenges he faced. So it was a real powerful message, and the guys received it well, and we truly thank him for coming to do that for us.
And we kind of see some of the results of it that happened Saturday with the choices that were made on the field. We had a few players come out with some awards. Player of the Week awards went to Kahari Lane, quarterback of the week. Greg Brooks, offensive lineman of the week. Joshua Williams, defensive back of the week. And Keyshawn James, defensive lineman of the week.
Well, Kahari Lane, first start for the Broncos. I told him before the game that, we didn't need him to go out here and try to win this game. Just manage the game and get the ball to the playmakers, and he did a good job of that. Greg Brooks anchored the offensive line. We ran for over 200 yards with six different ball carriers. Josh Williams has been getting a lot of pub throughout the preseason, and his play has to match up with that publicity. So I think he got off to a good start. And then Keyshawn James, man, I'm so proud of him. He played 100% every play he was out there, and it showed. 3.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. He really anchored our defensive line and dominated up front for us on Saturday.
Now you kind of had a task of putting a lot in the mixing bowl. Mixing your ingredients. You have a definitely long list of returners, some seniors who's coming back. You got some transfers, in there, and you also got some freshmen in there. How did you get them all to perform like they did this past weekend?
Well, we just kept the game plan simple. Everything that we've worked on since we've come into camp kind of has been focused on Elizabeth City, and our defensive schemes and our offensive schemes. We tried to marry it up to the game where everything we practiced, we tried to make sure we did that in the game and put those kids in that situation. So the coaching staff, Coach Anderson and Coach Randall, did an outstanding job of play calling, getting the kids in the right situations, and at the end of the day, the Broncos won.
Okay. Then you come back to campus. How do you regroup the kids from a victory like that?
Well, it was Labor Day weekend, so we got back here on Sunday and did our normal Sunday routine, and then on Labor Day, Monday, we labored. We came and we practiced. Normally we have an off day, but we practiced on Monday to introduce Wingate to the guys. We put Elizabeth City behind us on Sunday. Monday was all about Wingate. Today, this morning's practice was all about Wingate. So we want to have a solid 4-day work week in preparation for this next game.
Okay, so let's talk about Wingate. And they had a victory this past Thursday over Shaw University. What do you see that Wingate does well?
Everything. I mean, they're a nationally ranked opponent. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the RPOs. They play outstanding defense. In some instances, they are a resemblance of us on defense. They're dominant up front. The front 6 or 7 guys can dominate the game. They're very solid in the secondary. So we're going to have our hands full with those guys. But we've always competed well with Wingate. I told the team today that we can't play 35 minutes and they play 60. We're going to have to match that 60 minutes of effort and hard play that we know that they're going to bring to the table.
Okay. So who do you kind of look for to step up for us?
Man, I think that on the offensive side of the ball, we have to establish the run. We played 6 running backs on last Saturday, and we need all 6 of them to do the same thing they did last Saturday this week. Offensive line, that they're going to be challenged this week. Wingate is a very, very strong defensive. They have a very strong defensive front. So we're going to have to make sure we're on our assignments, finishing our blocks, running backs hitting the holes, running hard, and then our RPO game is going to have to match up with our run game just like theirs does. Defensively, we're going to have to tackle well. 2 years ago, it was 17-17 in the third quarter, and then they got a little stronger. They kept running the ball. The running back, Mr. Peoples, he seems like he got stronger as the game went on, and we didn't tackle well at the end of that game. So we're focusing on tackling and taking care of the football on offense, and if we do those 2 things and not turn the ball over, I think we'll be okay.
Okay. So virtually we have attending media with us. So I'm going to open the floor to Chris Clark. You have any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to know what, if anything, you could take from watching them play Shaw last week. I know they had that one big run on them that busted it, but what, if anything, can you take from that win that the Wingate had over the Bears that you could use to help you going into this game?
I think adjustments and we've played Wingate 3 years in a row, and I think Shaw I know they haven't played them that many times. I think they played them in 15 or 16 or something like that. But we're very familiar with them and their schemes, and it's all about making the proper adjustments when you play a team like Wingate. You make mistakes, they're going to make you pay for it. Shaw made a few mistakes. Wingate made them pay for it. So we're going to have to minimize our mistakes, like I said earlier. We feel like we have a solid game plan. We just have to execute, and I know our confidence is high right now, but this is the type of game we need to give us to be our measuring stick for where we are right now.
I was going to say, how do you keep those guys, not that you have to keep them in line, but after a big win in a classic game, how do you kind of, make them realize, hey, nobody just throws the footballs out there and wins a game. You got to go out and play. How do you keep them grounded, if for lack of a better word?
Well, I just tell them we haven't won anything yet. We won the Down East Classic, and that's over with. Our next opponent is our toughest opponent, one of the toughest opponents on our schedule. So and we have never beaten them. So to keep us grounded is easy because we have a goal set for ourselves that we want to beat Wingate. We don't want to just compete with those guys on an annual basis. We want to start winning some of those football games, and this is the year I believe that we can do that.
Kind of hit on that lead into my next question here. How much of a feather in your cap would it be a huge plus for the CIAA to be able to take down an SAC squad, especially one of Wingate's caliber, especially how the SAC's been doing against the CIAA? How big of a boost would that be to the conference and for Fayetteville as well?
Well, as it relates to the conference, I believe Chowan beat Mars Hills last week down at Mars Hill, so they already got the feather in the cap for the conference. As it relates to us, Wingate is nationally ranked, and we're not. And if we can knock those guys off and go 2-0 going into our bye week, oh man, the sky's the limit for us.
Last question I wanted to ask you about specifically to drill down on Crocker for Wingate. He beat you a lot of ways. Kind of tough to pin down one thing to stop him on. What are you guys going to do, without giving away the game plan, of course? I mean, to slow him down, if you would.
Well, he's very consistent. I mean, he runs the RPO game to perfection. We believe, you have to get him moving. You have to get him off his spot. If you let him stand there and pat that ball and scan the field, he's going to tear you apart. So our defensive line is going to have to do a good job of trying to get pressure. We got decent pressure with 4 last week without doing a lot of blitzing and trying to get to the quarterback, exposing our linebackers to the pressure. If we can keep them back in coverage and get pressure with 4, we'll be okay with that. But if we can't and we got to start sending pressure, we'll see how that works out as well.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Now, as we wrap up today's show, for more information on FSU athletics, visit our website at fsubroncos.com and follow us on social media via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want information fast at your phone, download our official app. Go to your app store for iOS, that's Apple, or Android, and download the official Fayetteville State Athletics app.